What's up, everybody? It's LG Doucette here. Today is Wednesday, August 18th, 2021. Welcome to the First Mint, a podcast where I talk about marketplace trends, big sales, and everything going on in NBA Top Shot. Today, it's another interview day, and we have well-known NFT collector, Twitter personality, Jfresshhh on. I personally am a big fan of this guy's tweets, and he is not so hot on Top Shot these days, which is totally understandable. It's been a crazy couple months, and a lot of people have left and gone into other NFTs. And he's going to come on the show today to pretty much talk about transitioning from having a bunch of Top Shot moments into becoming a well-known and what I consider respected NFT collector. I think he's quite sharp. I think he's got a great eye for stuff. And if you're the kind of person who's looking to, maybe get into other NFTs or liquidate a bit of Top Shot or however your path is, if you're looking to just learn a bit more about what makes a good NFT, what you should look for, and what some, generally investing strategies are, this is a great podcast for you. He also offers a very realistic approach and viewpoint of what exactly is driving the NFT craze right now, and also a sobering take on what has driven him out of Top Shot and what it would take to get him back. I want to remind everybody here that nothing on the show constitutes trading advice in any way, and that this show is not affiliated with NBA Top Shot, the NBA, or Tapper Labs. I'm just a guy at his house who loves basketball and blockchain. This is the First Mint. Ladies and gentlemen of the First Mint, we are on with one of my favorite Twitter follows, some of the best insights in the NFT and Top Shot space. Jfresshhh, welcome to the First Mint.
What's up, LG? I'm lowering my tenor a little bit, my voice to match your deep voice. Yeah, so I'm trying to sound a little bit more sexy because I'm on the show with you.
Oh man, I mean, you could do like a Dingling voice because I know you like that podcast.
I did like Dingling. I'm also glad we don't have video on because no one can compete with your fade and beard combo.
Oh shit! Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
I have a pretty sweet beard, but and every time I see you on a stream, I'm like, man, this guy's haircut and beard is always on point.
Oh, thanks, man. What about Phil's hair? He's shown his hair a couple times. It's like a crazy, like curly, like pineapple hair, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm always partial to the nice fade. So nice I respect fade. That.
The nice modern.
I never does. He's rocked a man bun a couple of times, right? That's not my style. I'm more of a fade type guy.
It's nice to get that kind of compliment, especially for somebody who does 3 shows a week. 2 of them are just voice, and one of them is, live. I appreciate that. I appreciate you noticing.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Let's rewind. Dude, tell me about you, Jfresshhh. Like to me, you are like, I love your commentary, everything that you contribute to the community, but I know nothing about you besides just your like super minimalistic Twitter profile, which occasionally changes profile photos to different NFT. But take us back before that. Like, was Top Shot your entry into NFTs, and like, how did you hear about all that?
Yeah, so just kind of a brief background, since I don't think not a lot of people know. So my professional background is mostly in HR, working for like different tech companies. So HR plus organizational design. So that's my professional background. And then in terms of getting into NFTs and like the investing space, I've always been into the stock market. I got in when I was young, and then obviously dabbled in crypto kind of in the mid 2010s. But never really ventured into NFTs until Top Shot, like the majority of people, I think. So I came across, of course.
What do you mean you never ventured? Like, did you know what NFTs were before Top Shot?
I did not, no. So just like the majority of people, in late February, when Top Shot was on ESPN, and there was, I think the New York Times article about it, and I saw all kinds of tweets from all the fantasy sports people I follow. And I did more research, and I love sports cards too, and sports. So I was like, man, this is everything that I like. It has the investing element, it has the social element, it has the sports element, it has the crypto element. I think this is going to be a game changer. I think that story kind of describes what everybody felt when they quote unquote aped in February. So that's what got me started in this space. And then I started to venture into other NFTs around that time. My first non-Top Shot NFT purchase was a Began Punk, which I think some people are familiar with, but it's basically like a mash. They're called bastard punks. It's basically like a mashup, a horribly ugly mashup of punk traits. And that was my first NFT profile picture. If you've been following me since I had like a couple hundred followers, you remember this pink little NFT CryptoPunk looking guy. That was my first profile picture. But I stayed in Top Shot for probably from February till May. That was kind of really my only NFT purchase.
Wait, are you not in Top Shot anymore?
No, so I sold the majority of my stuff in like June. I tweeted about it actually too. So my premise there was, having been in Top Shot since February and March, we all know that it was it was an escalator down. There were no bounces whatsoever for the most part. And just looking at all the analytics from Moment Ranks and Evaluate Market, it was very apparent after a while that there was no high money demand at all, and it didn't seem like it was going to be wise to continue to hold your portfolio. So I tried to get out. There was a June bounce, and I tried to get out, and I saw a lot of other money being made in NFTs and other NFTs. So I was like, I still love Top Shot. I still believe in the long-term thesis, but the reality is, even though people want to dress it up and deny it, being in NFTs, it's mostly about making money. So I saw plenty of opportunities elsewhere that I wanted to use that capital. So I essentially drained my Top Shot account, withdrew, and then used that money to buy other NFTs.
That's totally reasonable, man. And so, and that's kind of what we want to hear about today, right? Is, for people who are still in Top Shot, or people who have kind of like decided to move on or have some extra float and they want to start discovering this other stuff. I don't want to have you on to break down into Top Shot. I want to talk about like that transition into other NFTs, because that's something we've been working on at First Mint. It's just like, okay, we had the festival. We want people to be discovering other stuff out there. When you, Jfresshhh, started to look at other NFTs, how did you start that? Like even that weird like bastard punk thing you did, like what did you initially set out to look for?
Well, that was the bastard punk stuff was just blindly following the CryptoPunks trend. I didn't know much about NFTs or any of the trends at the time. So I just bought something that looked cool and kind of followed the CryptoPunks trend. I still think those are cool, but the transition into other NFTs I actually credit all to getting into Top Shot, because my first NFT purchase was non-Top Shot, was Bastard in like February. And then I didn't purchase another non-Top Shot NFT until May, which was, of course, Bored Apes, which I think the majority of people did. So the way that I found out about Bored Apes is I was in a private Discord for Top Shot only. There was about 80 people, and we were only talking about Top Shot for the most part. And all of a sudden, at 3 a.m. on May 1st, everybody was like, look at these Bored Apes. These are sick. These kind of follow the CryptoPunks trend. So I said, why not? They're about to sell out. I'll get a couple. And so I bought 4 Bored Apes for, I think it was $1,000 total in USD at the time. And the next day I sold them for like $30,000. So that was my first light bulb moment where I was like, why do I have so much money in Top Shot when it's gone down for 6 straight months, when you can flip something for a 30x profit within 24 hours? So then you started to see trends like that, and I got into
Congratulations, by the way. That's amazing.
Well, yeah.
I wrote off the apes when they came out, just because I didn't realize that it was going to unlock this new world of like profile photo projects, right? So I wrote them off, but congrats, man. That's huge.
Well, yeah, congrats at the time, but the reality, I left a ton of money on the table, obviously. So what I did with that capital is then, reinvest in like Punk's comics and artists like Xcopy, and, I got on the Cool Cats trend and all of those things. And all of these things doubled, triple, quadruple, sometimes exponentially, increased in value within days, hours, weeks, months. So once I got a taste of that, and with Top Shot, I just sat and watched my account value bleed out for like 6 straight months. That's when I made the decision to, hey, I still love Top Shot. I believe in the long-term thesis still, but strictly from a financial perspective, this just is not the place to have your money right now in NFTs. And if you can learn about these other trends and kind of quickly identify when something's about to pop, then you can do really, really well. And then I think eventually some of that money will flow back into Top Shot, specifically for me too. But it hasn't been, it's arguably been the worst NFT investment that there, like major NFT investment that there's been over the last 6 months, unfortunately.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah. Depending if you got it, if you got in when you did, which is most people, then yes.
Yeah, I would say if you got in, no, if you got in Top Shot pre-January or like in January, of course you're still sitting on massive profits and props to all that were. But I think 90% of the Top Shot users got in when I did or after, and it hasn't been great, especially compared to, I mean, you name a project: Cool Cats, Punks Comics, Bored Apes, Gutter Cat.
Well, there's some bad projects out there. I got to say, there's some stuff that is like non-existent anymore as well.
True, yeah, for sure. I think the difference is a lot of people put a ton of capital into Top Shot, whereas like these other projects that go to zero, people are investing a lot smaller amounts of money, so the risk is significantly less, just because people are throwing like $100 in instead of thousands of dollars in.
Yeah, that's it. I feel like a lot of the current NFT projects, like the current craze, is like people are kind of playing a lottery, in twofold lottery, right? Where it's like one, hoping that they're putting money into a project that will have a Bored Apes rise, right? So that they're getting something that's going to do well. And the second part of the lottery is that they're going to get one of the rare ones when they mint it. So it's like, but people know that that's why they're getting into it. Whereas like Top Shot, I think, was kind of sold to them in a way that it's like, hey, this is like, if you don't get in on these, $800 LeBrons now, this like no look 3-pointer, it'll never come back below $2,000. Right.
That's a great
supply
point.
Happened.
That's a great point, because I feel that sentiment so much just across the board in NFTs right now. And I think it's super dangerous, because we saw it with Top Shot, where at the peak it was like, we only have 100,000 active users. There's 1 billion NBA fans. Wait till more people get in. These S1s, they're never coming down. You better get them while you can. So on and so forth. And that's literally the exact same sentiment right now with Art Blocks and Bored Apes and Cool Cats, and you name the project. There's this sentiment across the board that's like, you better get in now, because we only have 125,000 users on OpenSea. So once we get more, you better get in, because these are only going to go up. And I think that's been profitable so far, but at some point, just like any other market, it's going to cool down, and 95% of the stuff is not going to hold value.
But I feel like, and I do like your point. I'd love for you to kind of expand on that a little bit. Is your tweet from a little while back, and you brought it up again recently, and you just kind of brought it up now, is that the money you may have lost on Top Shot, you consider to be your tuition into NFTs. And now, even though totally like the current NFT market kind of resembles what Top Shot did at the peak, where people are saying like, this can never go down, wait till there's more users, and there's no guarantee of either of those things happening, you already know to be cautious, right? Like Top Shot already taught you that nothing's forever that way.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, to the point of the tuition thing, I think that's the way that I like to look at it, because not only, well, I obviously lost money on Top Shot, just like the majority of people who got in when I did, but the knowledge and the connections that I've made within the NFT community has, because of Top Shot, has allowed me to not only make that money back, but then some. And I think that's the case with the majority of people. You look at the 5,000 owners of Bored Apes, they've all made their Top Shot money back at this point. Same thing with like Cool Cats and Punks Comics and all that stuff. And that money would have never been made had they not got into Top Shot and lost money. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. Like, I don't think losing money obviously helped people make money, but But just getting into Top Shot in the first place allowed people to discover all these other money-making opportunities.
Absolutely. And discover community. I mean, don't discount that either, right? It's intangible in a way that it doesn't necessarily turn into returns, but I feel like I've met so many wonderful people in the last like 6-8 months and connected with so many people that otherwise I wouldn't have been able to, making money, losing money, whatever it is.
Yeah, 100%. And not only making money in NFTs is great, but I think not only has Top Shot gotten people into NFTs, but if you backpedal a little bit, I think Top Shot got a lot of people into crypto, which I think is another massive game changer in terms of your future earnings potential and your future knowledge and getting a leg up just in the investment space as a whole. So the fact that Top Shot brought so many people into NFTs and crypto as a whole is a win. It's unfortunate that it was kind of a bloodbath in terms of financial value for a lot of people, but it's been a net positive at the end of the day.
Okay, so let's kind of take that and kind of use that as a jump off point for people who, same thing as you, they want to liquidate their portfolio or they just have some extra money, right? Like what, and they're going to venture into NFTs or into crypto in general. They want to maybe learn about like staking or whatever, buy some Ethereum. What are the three major points of advice, right? Because you're talking about having been successful, you got some great stuff, you already kind of know a little bit about finance, stock market stuff. What are these people looking for who are totally green to that type of space?
I think I get this question a lot, like in DMs, like, what do I look for? I think unfortunately, there's no exact science for it. I think the key is following as many influential and smart people on Twitter as you can, and just crowdsourcing knowledge and information from those types of people. And then on top of that, one of my favorite parts about NFTs and the community as a whole is if you identify a couple people who are really savvy collectors and you kind of believe in their thought process in collecting NFTs, you can just stock their wallets and you can see what they're buying. I do this all the time with people that I trust. I'll stock their wallets, see what they're buying.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
So, for example, Punk 4156, I think the majority of people on NFT Twitter are familiar. It's the ape with the blue bandana. That's the profile.
Oh, yeah.
Picture. Yep. So
yeah.
When I first,
it's a punk ape. It's a punk ape with a blue bandana.
Ape. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, it's a punk ape. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So when I first started to try to venture out from Top Shot into other NFTs, that was somebody whose tweets I just really valued, and I thought they were really intelligent and eloquent with the way that they described things, and it seemed like they were successful. So I consistently stocked, I don't know if it's his or her, but I consistently stocked this person's wallet. And that's how I discovered Xcopy originally, which is a pretty infamous artist in the space, and probably my favorite artist and a lot of people's now. So that allowed me to start buying some Xcopy stuff for way cheaper than it's going now, just because I essentially front run somebody who I trusted by stocking their wallet. And the way that I think you asked, how did I find the wallet? Well, it's easy. If someone's using an avatar project as their profile picture, you just go on OpenSea, you find that specific avatar, and then you look at the wallet that owns it, and then there you go. You found that person. So like you can easily find people's wallets just by looking up their avatar on OpenSea and then seeing what else they have.
I knew how to do that, Jfresshhh. I just wanted everybody else to know.
Of course.
Okay.
No,
I know how to stalk people with their NFT wallets. Okay.
I figured you did, but yeah, I think that's, and then, yeah, I just try to follow as many people that I trust and that I think are intelligent in this space, and try to follow, what they say, what they're buying, and front run a lot of those types of things. That's
good. So how do you then balance, how do you aggregate the information for yourself, right? Because it's even something that I find myself overwhelmed with, that even like sometimes, like Twitter to me is like this portal that sometimes I'll go into that I then realize like I'm just lost for years in it. Because like I'll be like, oh, like what, even before chatting with you, I was like, oh, I should go pull up some of those old tweets that Jfresshhh wrote so I can reference them. But then it's like, then I realized 20 minutes had gone by and I was just reading tweets from other people about other NFTs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like,
Yep.
how do you, and then it's like, what do you do? Do you do you look at tweets from the punk guy you're talking about, or from like Andy or something like that? And then you like save them and write them down and like save the anecdote and kind of aggregate that into like, okay, here's my analytical decision. Or like, how do you manage that like flow of like smart influencer, like advice, not advice that's out there?
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's because it's not an exact science. It's kind of more just like gut feel after, immersing yourself in this space for so long and being on Twitter, what seems to be 24/7 for the most part. Everybody makes fun of like pump and dumps and influencer pumps and stuff like that. But the reality is with how finite the supply of some of these projects are and how small the community is, in general, for me, if I even if I don't think that they're smart and don't necessarily like the stuff that they buy or like the stuff that they say, if I see a wide network of quote unquote influencers shilling a project, then I know it's likely to be a very quick, profitable flip. So when I see the crypto Twitter guys jump on a project, it's like I'm going to jump on immediately because I know they're going to pump this project and I'm going to get in and I'm going to get out. So I just try to look for who is tweeting about what, and how far is the network effect of that? Is it only one section of crypto Twitter tweeting about this, or has it crossed over into other sections? So for example, if I see Bored Apes, punks, and crypto Twitter all shilling the same project and it's minting, it's like, I'm going to mint this. I'm just going to blindly mint this because I guarantee that they are going to create enough FOMO where this is going to be an easy 2 or 3x profit. I'm just gonna ride the wave. So now that said, I think that's very dangerous advice because this is gambling, right? So I don't advise doing that with money that you need or your only ETH. The way that I do it is I take maybe like, I don't know, not even, maybe like 1 to 2% of my ETH, and that's what I use in those situations. And then I try to roll profits back into what I consider the blue chip projects that I'm comfortable holding.
I like the way you described like the hordes of people that you have to see aping into a project for you to get in on it. Like I like you like the apes and the punks and the crypto people. Like you're describing like some kind of like Lord of the Rings battle with like all these different like creatures.
No, it's 100% true. It's like if all these different factions are getting in, they have they have such a wide network reach, that it's like there's only 10,000 of these things. There's more people that are going to want them, so I'm just going to try to ride the wave. And it's burned me obviously a couple of times, and I think the minting lottery might be coming to an end here pretty soon. It seems to be that way. It's not as profitable as it was a couple months ago. If you've done that over the last 3 to 4 months, you've probably been pretty successful.
With that in mind, actually, because you're saying kind of like the minting lottery, it's a great way to put it, is kind of coming to an end. What then is next?
I think what's next is you're going to see a lot of people. Well, first, you're going to see a lot of projects try to differentiate themselves, number one. And then number two, I think you're going to see a lot of people try to pile into what I consider to be maybe like 20 blue chip projects, 20 or less, at the time. So I think what you're going to see is mass differentiation, like from a financial perspective, from a DeFi perspective, from a decentralized organization perspective. I think there's going to be a lot of innovation with some of the major projects here in the next wave. And then as that happens, I think the community and the market will generally start to really reject these low effort projects, and people will start to pile into the blue chippers in the next couple months.
What about Top Shot? What's coming next for Top Shot?
I think Top Shot is going to be successful just by proxy of the NBA. And I think it's good, just like it did in February and March. There's going to be another wave that piles in and more waves. I think it's going to be successful. But I don't know. I've lost a lot of confidence, to be frank, in Top Shot. That doesn't mean I don't think they'll be successful or that I'm out completely or that I'll never get back in. But with the speed of the way the NFT world moves, they just haven't innovated fast enough, in my opinion, to keep up with a lot of these other projects. So I think eventually money will flow back and we'll get a lot of new users at the start of the NBA season once they ramp up marketing and stuff. But I think strictly from a financial play, it's not really there anymore. It's kind of a collector's experience, which is what they want. Until the NFT lottery and the 10x, the dreams of 10x, 20x, 100x end, I think people are going to put Top Shot on the back burner simply because it's not the same financial opportunity as some of these other projects.
What would it take for you to come back to Top Shot in an active sense?
I think part of the factor would be if they started to string together some small consistent wins, and I developed more confidence kind of in the under promise over deliver mechanisms of them, or their surprise and delight. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem cool to have Top Shot anymore. There's like no status associated with it anymore. Not many people talk about it in a cool sense anymore. So I don't know. I think I'm always looking at prices and I'm always looking to get back in, but there's just no sense of urgency for me to jump back into Top Shot at this point. I think it's going to take a couple more months for me to start slowly buying a couple things, but I certainly won't ape in again like I did in February.
You never know, man. The emotions can get you.
Yeah, that's a huge part of the space, is just the emotional aspect.
Yeah. No, and that's fair, man. And I think it's always good, on the show, obviously, we're born out of Top Shot and we mainly talk about Top Shot. So I think it's really good to get, your opinion, somebody whose opinion I really respect, your thoughts and your feelings about, why it's not for you right now and not for a while either.
Well, yeah,
right? I think we need that.
Yeah, I think so many little things. Everybody always talks about the market, but it blows my mind that we've seen with other NFTs, what makes them popular is one, status that usually comes with a profile picture, and two, being able to display and flex your NFTs. So it really surprises me that Top Shot, from a non-market perspective, hasn't come up with something in the last 6 months to make it cool to display your Top Shot moments. Like they just, that's one example. They still have the same showcase feature that they did in February, when all these other NFTs, you can create digital galleries and you can link them in your profile picture, and it's cool to go see like D's, who's popular in the NFT space. You can go see all his NFT galleries and walk through them and things like that. Whereas Top Shot they just haven't done enough to keep people on the site, because there's only one thing to do on the site, and that's buy and sell. And two, there's not a cool way to display your Top Shot collection outside of Top Shot and even in Top Shot. So even little things like that, I'm really surprised that they haven't done more of over the last couple months.
There has been some stuff that's come from outside parties, like Moment Nerd created that profile photo generator.
Yep.
Which actually, I'm actually surprised how many people still have that as their profile photos. I don't mean that there's anything wrong with it or bad. I just didn't expect it to catch on so much. So I actually still see quite a few people with it. And at the fest, we had Infinite Objects that announced their partnership with Top Shot and the NBA. So they're going to be able to display stuff. So, and I will say, I know what you mean about like D's and people having their stuff displayed on like Ethereum backed metaverses. I think there'll be some stuff like that eventually on Flow. I think it's just the trouble is that Top Shot was a Flow NFT launched before like Flow was barely even a network, right? So I think eventually that'll come. It's just I get what you mean though, is that without that, it does feel like it falls behind.
Yeah, no, trust me, I understand from a business perspective. I totally understand the majority of things Top Shot are doing. They're not going to rush to satisfy short-term attention spans and short-term demand, and they're not going to pump out bad features or products just because they feel like they need to. I know they're playing the long game. I'm just speaking in terms of comparing them to other NFT projects right now. As I mentioned before, these things move so quick. Like Apes, for example, they've existed for 3 months and they've already gifted a bunch of stuff to people, and they already have celebrities buying these things. They have all these apes who have created all these different marketing initiatives on their own, and so on and so forth. So that's in a 3 month span, and it just doesn't feel like Top Shot has kept up with that. which is not necessarily a fault of theirs because they're playing the long game. But the reality is it's going to create kind of a short-term downturn for them, and they'll be on the back burner until some of that stuff starts popping up.
Okay, Jfresshhh, it's the end of the show, and you know what happens now. We're going to play Would You Rather.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready? Do you know how this works?
This is a PG-13 Would You Rather, right?
Do you want it to be rated R?
No, whatever you want, man. You're the one with the great haircut and the great beard, so you have the influence over me, so I'll do whatever you want to do.
Okay, well, it's very influence based. Okay, really simple. I kind of know what you're going to answer, but I never know. Would you rather a LeBron Cosmic or a CryptoPunk?
It's got to be CryptoPunk.
That's what I thought. I already knew. Would you rather that Top Shot calls you up and they're like, we're getting rid of our economist, but we're getting a new one and it has to be you, and we're going to implement all these ideas you have, like you're talking about right now? Or you remain the budding influencer that you are, and over time, even all the other influencers now think of you as the influencer. Like even Gary Vee is like, I only buy whatever Jfresshhh tells me to.
Ooh, this is one where I don't really want. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I would say, I guess the Top Shot one. I don't really like to be an influencer. That's not my thing. I like to be under the radar and low key. I don't like to promote myself in any way, shape, or form. But I will tell you this: if I was the economist of Top Shot, then I would definitely advise getting all your money out of there, because that's certainly not my expertise. So,
oh, I get it. That is, if you were in control, it'd be like run for the hills.
What they should do is, and not necessarily saying me specifically, instead of an economist, I think their social media feed could use a lot of work. There's a lot of talented social media people out there that are funny and witty, and not a lot of funny and witty tweets come from the Top Shot official Top Shot account. So that's maybe something that they could hire somebody for. Okay,
unsolicited advice to Top Shot. That's good. Okay, last one. And this is like a yes or no. Like it's just a scenario, and you have to say if you want to do it or not. Okay. Top Shot market never goes down from when you aped in February. It only goes up, and all the stuff you bought, it fulfills the dream you had, but you never discover the rest of the NFT world.
Yeah, I'm happy with actually the outcome if that's the case, because now I'm in so many cool NFT projects, and it's gotten me more involved in the space as a whole. And I think it's educated me to make really good decisions, both financially and professionally moving forward. So I would take the outcome that happened and me aping into Top Shot, and then kind of being like, okay, what else is out there? Cause this is not looking good. So
there you go.
So I am happy with the outcome that's happened.
He's happy with where he is, folks. It's nice to hear. Love it. Jfresshhh, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, man. It's nice to actually converse with you.
Likewise. Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of First Mint, big fan of yours. So happy to be on the show. Happy to talk to you.
We'll try and talk about more NFTs for you, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, LG.
And that is going to do it for us today, folks. Tomorrow night, we are back for the First Mint Live on Thursday night on the First Mint Twitch channel. Check it out. As usual, we're going to have the real Phil D, myself, and some great guests. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on the First Mint.